I stand once again before you all to report the gains of our administration in the past 12 months. In the auspicious year 2011, we saw the Full People Development Trust. With firm conviction, we planted in the hearts of our people the mustard seed of truth that the driver of development of our people is no other than the people themselves. This, in effect, engendered the shifting of development paradigm in Davao del Norte from hard infrastructure orientation to social transformation. This change of direction can be likened to a supertanker changing direction. It has to be done slowly, but the ripples of the change are far-reaching. A short-sighted observer cannot certainly appreciate these achievements. Together, let us review how far the supertanker has turned about, but it has already entered uncharted waters, waters that very few politicians would take the risk of entering, especially those who think simply of buildings rather than the capacity of people who will use the building, or simply the roads and bridges, instead of the community entrepreneurship to flourish along these roads and bridges. We are thankful to the Department of Interior and Local Government for providing us clear guideposts which facilitated our journey along the Matuwid, using the rubrics of the Local Governance Performance Management System, or LGPMS. We become conscious facilitators of development. By balancing our performance on the areas of administrative governance, economic governance, social governance, environmental governance, and values of good governance, we are given an overall rating of high by the DILG. This rating affirms the correctness of our chosen path. This rating represents how well we fare in heeding the noble terms enshrined in the social contract which we all together signed when we elected President Benigno S. Aquino III. On administrative governance, we garnered a rating of high. This means we have very functional mechanisms in place to operate a local government unit. For one, local legislation is rated high for providing responsive legislative support pursuant to our executive legislative agenda. We would like, therefore, to commend the entire Sangguniang Panlalawigan through the able leadership of Vice Governor Victorio R. Soybagyo Jr. for standing true to the spirit of our executive legislative agenda. Specifically, we would like to congratulate the Sangguniang for passing, among others, the Provincial Reorganization Ordinance, principally sponsored by the SP Committee on Good Government, Public Ethics and Accountabilities, chaired by Board Member Vicente R. Florendo. The Provincial Tax Ordinance, principally sponsored by the SP Committee on Ways and Means, chaired by Board Member Alfredo D. De Vera. And the revised Revenue Code, also sponsored by the same SP Committee of Ways and Means. These are landmark legislations which on one hand provided organizational roots and wings for us to take off and are expected to inject immense fuel to sustain our flight towards social transformation. We congratulate in advance the SP Committee on Education, chaired by Board Member Shirley Belen R. Ala, and members. SP Committee on Laws, chaired by Board Member Joey D. Milian, and members. And SP Committee on Finance, chaired by Board Member Janet G. Gavina, and members. Jointly, they are currently working on our proposed ordinance establishing the Davao del Norte Learning Institute that will streamline and rationalize the trainings for our employees, officials, and barangay functionaries to support the people development strategy. In the area of human resource management and development, LGPMS says we are excellent. Today, this is being enhanced further under the auspices of the Philippine-Australia Human Resource Organizational Development Facility. Our Provincial Human Resource Management Office, or PHRMO, is instrumental in the successful implementation of the Provincial Reorganization Ordinance, which restructured our bureaucracy in response to the call of the times. Revenue generation is another administrative tool which contributed to our laudable performance in 2011. Last year, our province earned a combined income of 884 million pesos. This was higher by 9.7 percentage points compared to our 2010 income. This is made possible through the combined efforts of Provincial Assessor's Office, the Provincial Treasurer's Office, the Provincial Budget Office, and the Provincial Accounting Office, which jointly pursued a policy of maintaining efficient tax collection rates, strengthening of our own source revenue, and reasonable fiscal discipline. In framing our strategy to rounds and figures, we are confronted by competing demands for shares in the budget pie. Given the wide array of socio-economic concerns, we carefully balance the budget to respond to these concerns without losing emphasis on the articulated strategic actions. By engaging in shrewd negotiations between and among various programs and free legal consultation in the barangays, among others. Another 21% was spent on economic services that are mostly agricultural assistance and environment-related programs. 19% was spent for the promotion of public health and provision of social welfare services, and a minuscule of 6% for other purposes. Cognizant of the limits of our resources, we look for other means to support our plans. Per LGPMS, we garnered a rating of high in development planning for coming up with responsive and updated planning documents which serve as guide to our local development direction. But the Provincial Planning and Development Office did not sit contented in crafting plans alone. It also demonstrated itself as a very effective workhorse in packaging project proposals for foreign funding. Hence, we managed to secure a total of 273 million through the Mindanao Rural Development Program of World Bank and Department of Agriculture. This is for the 27 rural infrastructure projects jointly undertaken by the provincial and city municipal LGUs, and 132 community livelihood projects undertaken by registered people's organizations in the province. Another 16.7 million came from the Davao Integrated Development Program, or DIDP, and other funding sources like the Special Local Road Board, Road Fund. We also facilitated Pamana project of the OPA, Pabahay sa Lumad through the SWD's Kalahi Seeds program, and school library for the AGA Foundation through the benevolence of the Aquino Sisters. Currently, we are improving our internal systems as a requirement to access the 40 million Provincial Roads Management Facility, courtesy of Australian aid. On social governance, the provincial government is rated high by the LGPMS. This means our Human Development Trust is clearly manifest as the true hallmark of our administration. Our support to education is cited as excellent, principally because our proper use of the Special Education Fund. We utilize this to finance our scholarship program, support for LSB paid teachers, support to our alternative learning program for Muslim and IP youth, all geared towards developing our marginalized sector to raise literacy. Today, we are sustaining the education of our 255 youth in various college courses and 100 indigenous youth in the uplands. We took the liberty of defining education liberally as not just confined to formal education. For us, the practical education to earn modest income is critical, worthy of our assistance. Hence, we continue supporting our technology and livelihood development program, which aims to transfer skills and technology to our out-of-school youth and ordinary housewives. Last year, close to 3,500 clients attended to our in-house and outdoor skills trainings by TLDC. Public health, as another component in the Human Development Trust, is also given strong bias. As a result, we were able to reduce crude death rates from 23 per 1,000 population to 20 per 1,000 population. Infant and under 5 mortality rates were kept at 5 and 7 per 1,000 live births, respectively. This is way below the national Millennium Development Goal, which is 19 per 1,000 live births. The remaining challenge, which is true to all provinces in the country, is the high maternal mortality rate, which for Davao del Norte is 131 per 100,000 live births. This is very high compared to the MDG target of 52 per 100,000 live births to be attained by year 2015.